My boyfriend's Tinder secret, betrayal, doubt, and the fight for truth. Chapter 1. The screenshot that shattered my trust. I'm Talia, 19 years old, a freshman in college figuring out who I am and how relationships work. My boyfriend, Noah, is 21. We've been exclusive for 6 months, ever since we met at a campus event and fell into an intense, whirlwind romance. 2 days ago, we almost broke up due to tensions and trust issues. Now, I'm on shaky ground, trying to hold us together while wrestling with my suspicions. Yesterday morning at 9:40 a.m., Noah sent me what was supposed to be an innocent screenshot about an online sale for gaming merchandise. But in the top left corner of his iPhone screen, Apple's interface betrayed him. It said, "Return to Tinder." My heart stopped. I stared at the words, feeling a cold dread flood my veins. We'd agreed months ago to delete our dating apps once we got serious. He specifically promised me he had deleted his Tinder account. So how could it still appear on his phone? In a trembling voice, I texted him, "Why does it say return to Tinder on your screenshot?" He replied almost instantly, too quickly, saying he'd pre-downloaded it just to fully delete his old account. Then, about 20 minutes later, he sent a screen recording of him attempting to log in via phone number, only to be greeted by a "Your account has been banned" message. He typed, "I can't get in. I guess it was banned." A wave of relief warred with distrust. If his number's banned, maybe he truly can't use Tinder. So maybe he's telling the truth. But the timing was suspect. Just 2 days after we nearly split, he re-downloads Tinder only to delete it. My mind whirled with possible lies, especially since we discovered he apparently let his roommate use his phone number to bypass that roommate's own Tinder ban. What if he's covering for something else? My heart hammered with doubt. I spent the rest of the day reeling, uncertain if I was paranoid or if he was cunningly covering his tracks. Sleep came fitfully that night as I replayed the conversation in my head. I just wanted to fully delete. I can't log in, must be banned. Or was he using a second account under a different login? My frustration and heartbreak clashed like storm clouds, overshadowing the love I once felt so strongly. Chapter 2. Echoes of doubt. The next morning, I woke in a haze of misery. My classes felt distant, as if the textbooks and lectures were part of someone else's life. I was consumed by the question, is Noah cheating on me? Over the past 6 months, he'd always seemed so loyal. We had our petty arguments, sure, but nothing pointing to infidelity. Until now. Before I left for class, I scrolled through old messages from when we first started dating. I found a thread where I told him I was deleting my own Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. He'd replied enthusiastically that he'd already done the same, that he was 100% in with me. I'd believed him wholeheartedly. Could I have been so naive? In the dining hall, I shared a table with Maya, my roommate. She saw my reddened eyes and asked if I was okay. Sighing, I gave her the gist of the screenshot, the suspicious timing, the ban claim. Maya frowned, saying it sounded fishy, but she also cautioned me not to jump to conclusions without proof. "Maybe he's telling the truth," she said. "Guys can be clueless with apps. But be careful." That day, I forced myself to text Noah, asking to meet for lunch. We ended up at a crowded campus cafe, tension thick in the air. Chapter 1 had ended with my shock. Now we needed real talk. Chapter 3, tracing our history. I tried to ground myself by remembering how we got here. I met Noah at a campus orientation event last autumn. I was fresh out of high school. He was a junior transferring from a community college. He teased me about the pizza line, and we clicked instantly. By the second month, we were inseparable. I remember nights in his dorm lounge, me in pajamas, him in sweatpants, both of us cramming for midterms while joking about the campus drama. He was my first serious boyfriend. Before him, I'd had a few casual flings, nothing deep. But Noah felt different. Thoughtful, charismatic, fun. When we decided to be exclusive, I never doubted him. He seemed as smitten as I was. Looking back, maybe the first sign of trouble was his lingering ex. He occasionally texted her, claiming it was harmless. I believed him. Then a month later, we had a small fight about trust, but we made up quickly, reaffirming that we wouldn't keep secrets. That vow still echoes in my mind now, overshadowed by this Tinder fiasco. Did he forget that vow? Chapter 4, Tinder Troubles and Mixed Messages. At the cafe table, I confronted him. My voice shook as I asked him to retell his story in detail. He repeated it. 1. He remembered he never fully deleted his account, only uninstalled the app months ago. 2. He re-downloaded Tinder that morning, planning to delete the account for good. 3. He discovered his number was banned, which he realized was because he once let his roommate use that number. 4. He's upset I don't believe him. I pointed out the suspicious timing, 2 days after our near breakup. He just sighed, saying, he can't control when it popped into my head to do it. I was cleaning up my digital life. I pressed about the 20-minute gap. Why didn't you do the screen recording immediately? He claimed he tried multiple times to see if he could reset the account, but it kept showing the banned screen, so he gave up. Then he decided to show me. That's the story. I asked, why didn't you warn me? I gave you a heads up when I deleted my account months ago. He shrugged, offering a lukewarm apology. I didn't think it was a big deal. Sorry for not telling you first. I truly had no intention to use it, but my chest tightened. Did I believe him? Another part of me worried I was punishing him for a misunderstanding. If he truly was banned, that screen recording seemed legit. He even offered to let me check his phone. But would that reveal everything, or just confirm he's careful? We left the cafe with an uneasy truce. He'd be transparent. I'd try to quell my paranoia. But the doubt lingered. Chapter 5, the trial phase. We decided to label the next 2 weeks as a trial phase. A chance to see if we could rebuild trust, or if we should end things. No, said he'd be more mindful about communicating his whereabouts. No suspicious apps. Total phone transparency if I wanted it. Meanwhile, I'd hold back from accusing him constantly, giving him space to prove himself. At first, it felt promising. He called me every night, told me about his day. He invited me to hang with his friends, ensuring I saw how he spent his free time. The tension started to ease. Maybe this really was all a big misunderstanding. Yet, a voice in my head whispered cheaters often get better at hiding their tracks once they know you suspect them. One evening, we sat on my dorm couch, scrolling memes together. I teased him about silly campus gossip, and he teased me about my weird study habits. For a moment, we felt normal again, like the old us. But the memory of that returned to Tinder. Texts hovered at the edges of my mind. Every time his phone buzzed, I couldn't help but glance anxiously. Eventually, I confessed how anxious I felt. He stroked my hair, apologizing. I hate that you're worried. I'll do anything to prove I'm not using Tinder. He insisted. He seemed earnest, eyes filled with remorse. A flicker of hope sparked in me. Maybe he's innocent. But was that naive? Chapter 6, confronting the roommate. Midway through our trial phase, I had a bold idea. Why not find the supposed roommate, the one who used No's number for Tinder? If that story was true, I could confirm it. The roommate had lived with No last year, so I asked around to see if anyone knew how to contact him. With some sleuthing, I found him on social media. Nick, a guy who posted a bunch of party photos, now apparently living off campus. I messaged him politely, asking if he remembered using No's phone number for Tinder. He responded after a day, "Lol, yeah, I did. My number was banned." He let me use his R. "That was months ago, though. Why do you ask?" My heart leaped. This corroborated No's story. Maybe he was telling the truth. I asked if Nick recalled how that all ended. Nick said, "We messed around on Tinder for a bit, but I guess I got banned again. Not sure. Then I moved out. Sorry if that caused drama." So it lined up. No's claim about the roommate fiasco might be legit after all. I felt a surge of relief. Maybe I'd been tormenting him for no reason, but then Nick added a cryptic line. I do recall, he kept telling me to be careful cause he had a gef, so maybe he's all good now. This confused me. He had a girlfriend or I was the girlfriend. Possibly meaning No was worried I'd suspect something, hard to interpret. But it didn't outright prove No was lying. Still, it validated the existence of the roommate fiasco. The next day, I excitedly told No that I talked to Nick. He seemed both surprised and annoyed I'd gone behind his back to confirm the story, but he shrugged. "At least now you see I wasn't lying," he said, voice tense. "I apologize for the distrust," he said. "He get it, but it hurts you felt the need to investigate." Inside, a weird sense of guilt mingled with relief. He truly was banned from Tinder because of the roommate, so maybe it was all a misunderstanding. Chapter 7, Digging for Digital Clues. Despite the relief from Nick's confirmation, a lingering doubt nagged me. What if No used a different login, like Facebook? The phone number ban doesn't stop him from creating a new account with a different method. I hated how suspicious I felt, but after the near breakup, the timing was too perfect. One night, after we'd finished studying together in his dorm lounge, No stepped out to get a soda. His phone lay on the table unlocked. We'd said we'd be transparent, right? So, trembling, I decided to quickly check app downloads. I opened the App Store's purchased history. Sure enough, Tinder was there, recently downloaded, but no sign of a second or third download. My heart pounded. Then I checked his linked Facebook accounts, scanning for any sign of hidden Tinder connectivity. Nothing obvious. I hurriedly closed it before he returned. My gut twisted. I was snooping. This was exactly the toxic pattern I dreaded. I told myself, he's not cheating. The roommate fiasco is real. Let it go. But I also recognized that once suspicion takes root, it's hard to uproot. At dinner that night, I tried to quell my anxiety. We ate pizza in the campus dining hall, laughing about a funny professor. For a moment, it felt normal. Then a random wave of suspicion hit me. He's smiling so easily. Could that smile be fake? I pushed the thought away, focusing on the present, on the fact that maybe everything was fine. Chapter 8, Emotional Crossroads. Week 2 of our trial phase arrived, and I felt no closer to a final answer. On the one hand, the roommate fiasco checked out. No also seemed calmer, more affectionate. On the other, I kept replaying how the Tinder mention popped up exactly when we nearly broke up, which still felt suspicious. If he was planning to line up a rebound, that timing would make sense. One evening, we sat in my dorm watching a rom-com. A scene about betrayal played out on screen. I found myself tensing, turning to watch No's reaction. He noticed, paused the movie, asked softly, "Am I not proving myself enough? I see how you look at me whenever a cheating storyline appears." My eyes brimmed with tears. "I'm trying to trust you, but part of me can't shake the fear that you have a second account or something. I hate feeling like I'm policing you." He pulled me into a hug. "Promise, Talia, there's no second account. I'm not looking for a new girl. I love you." The near breakup freaked me out, but it didn't make me want to cheat. It just made me want to fix what we have. He stroked my hair. "What do I do to show you that?" My tears spilled as I whispered, "Maybe time and consistency. That's all." He nodded, letting the movie play again. His heartbeat felt steady against my shoulder. I wanted to believe him, yearned for us to be okay. Maybe we could be. Chapter 9, A Heart to Heart with my closest friend. Despite the growing calm between me and No, I still needed a reality check. So I turned to my best friend, Jade, who I'd known since high school. She was a couple years older, living off campus, working part-time. Jade was always my no-nonsense confidant. I invited her to a cozy cafe downtown, away from campus chatter. She arrived in her usual denim jacket, hair tied in a messy bun. We ordered chai lattes and settled at a corner table. Without preamble, I spilled the entire Tinder saga. Returned to Tinder in the screenshot, the ban, the roommate story, the missing 20 minutes. Jade listened intently, sipping her latte, occasionally nodding. Then she set down her cup. "Talia, I see two possibilities. One, he's telling the truth, and this is an unfortunate misunderstanding that's scaring you because of the near breakup. 2. He's lying, but being extremely careful, Bo. I sighed. That's exactly where I am, and I can't definitively prove or disprove it. She shrugged. In the end, do you see enough in his behavior? His sincerity, to trust him? Because you can't build a relationship on endless detective work. If every day you're scanning his phone, that's not healthy. I blinked back tears. I don't want to be that paranoid girlfriend, but if he's lying, it'd break me. Jade reached over, squeezing my hand. You get it. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith, or walk away if you can't handle the doubt. She softened. But I think you'll figure it out. Trust your gut. Is your gut screaming he's cheating, or that he's just bad at communication? The question lingered. My gut wasn't screaming, it was quietly worried. In the last few days, No had shown me genuine devotion. So maybe my gut's alarm was quieting. As we left the cafe, Jade hugged me goodbye, whispering, if you do decide to trust him, do so wholeheartedly. Don't half-trust, because half-trust will poison everything. I nodded, heart heavy. Chapter 10, The Weekend Getaway. Around the end of the second trial week, No surprised me with an idea. Let's do a weekend getaway, he said, eyes bright. We can drive an hour to a lake cabin my friend's family owns. Get away from campus stress. Reset. He insisted it'd be a chance for us to reconnect, away from prying eyes and the tension-laden environment of dorm life. Part of me hesitated. Should I isolate myself with him if I'm still uncertain? But the other part remembered Jade's advice, if I stay, I should go all in. So I agreed, hoping fresh scenery might bring clarity. We set off early Saturday, driving through winding country roads. The cabin was charming, perched by a lake shimmering in autumn light. No other cabins in sight, just rustling trees, crisp air, the smell of pine. A sense of serenity washed over me, as if maybe we could recapture that spark from when we first fell in love. We spent the day canoeing on the lake. No teased me when I struggled with the paddle, then apologized sweetly, helping me steady the boat. The moment felt tender, almost pure. In the evening, we grilled burgers outside, him flipping patties, while I set the rustic picnic table. We joked about silly memories from the last 6 months. After dinner, we sat by a small bonfire he built near the shore, watching sparks dance under a star-filled sky. It all felt dangerously romantic, like the love we once shared was shining anew. I leaned my head on his shoulder, letting myself believe we could move past the Tinder fiasco. Maybe trust was possible. He murmured, I'm glad we did this. I hate the tension. I want you to know you can rely on me. I felt tears prick my eyes, but I just nodded, whispering, we want to believe you. We kissed under those stars, warmth coursing through me. For a moment, my doubts receded. But as I dozed off in the cabin's cozy loft, I couldn't fully banish the image of that screenshot. The memory of return to Tinder wouldn't vanish. Could a single weekend fix the cracks in our foundation? Chapter 11, Fresh evidence emerges. Sunday morning, we lounge by the cabin's small fireplace, sipping coffee. No dozed off on the couch, phone lying on the armrest. I quietly checked my own phone. Suddenly, a friend texted me a screenshot from a social media group chat. It was a snippet of some campus gossip. Someone claiming they saw Noah on Tinder. My heart jumped into my throat. The friend's message read, "Isn't this your beef?" People are saying they recognized his pics, though the account name is different. Could be old, I guess. A wave of nausea hit me. What if he made a new account with a different name or login? My world spun. I glanced over at Noah's sleeping form, feeling betrayal flood back. But I needed to be sure. I typed back to my friend, "Can you find out more? Or who posted that rumor?" The friend replied that it was just a random chat rumor with no screenshot proof. My chest tightened. Could it be a false rumor or an old profile from before we dated? Or was this the final straw? No stirred awake, yawning. "Morning, babe," he said softly. I forced a smile, heart hammering. Should I confront him right away? Maybe I needed more than a rumor. But my anxiety soared. If he's secretly using Tinder under a new name, I decided to keep quiet for the ride home, gathering thoughts. The entire drive back, he was cheerful, humming songs, discussing how we should plan a future trip. My responses were half-hearted hums. He noticed, asking, "Kai, you okay?" I lied, saying I was just tired. Inside, I was screaming he might be cheating again or still. But I had no solid proof, just rumors. And he'd said he was banned. Could someone impersonate him with stolen pics? That's not unheard of. My mind whirled with possibilities, none comforting. Chapter 12's Unraveling the Truth. That night, back in my dorm, I confronted the rumor. I posted anonymously in the group chat, asking if anyone had actual screenshots of No's supposed Tinder profile. A girl responded. I saw a profile that looked like him last week, but it had a weird name. Could be just a lookalike. Another said, "He's definitely banned on phone numbers, though." Someone else argued, "He can log in through Facebook or Google." A swirl of speculation, no definitive proof. I felt like I was drowning in conflicting stories. I wanted something solid, so I tried a risky move. I borrowed Jade's phone number and made a dummy Tinder account. Yes, it felt underhanded, but I needed to see if I could find a profile resembling No. Jade, supportive, led me, though she said, "This might not be healthy for you." Over the next few days, I swiped through endless campus faces, hoping I wouldn't see him. If I did, it meant heartbreak was real. If I didn't, maybe he was innocent. It was draining, but I refused to stop until I'd thoroughly checked for a radius that included campus. Nothing, no sign of him. On day 3, I broadened the radius beyond campus. Still nothing. My tension eased. Could it be that the rumor was false? Finally, day 4, I was about to give up. Then bam, a familiar face popped up. The photos were definitely him. No in a baseball cap. No with a backpack near a hiking trail. Even a pic of him from our time at that lake, though I'd been carefully cropped out. The name was Jay. My heart hammered. The profile read, 21, studying business, looking for good vibes. My eyes blurred with tears. So he did have a new Tinder account under a fake name, using pictures I recognized. No mention of me, obviously. My stomach twisted, so the rumor was true. He must have done it through a different login, not his phone number, or he borrowed another friend's number. The next day I swiped right, hoping to match him just to see if I could confront him there. But no immediate match. Maybe he was offline or selective. The betrayal scorched my insides. He'd lied so effectively, weaving that roommate fiasco narrative, even letting me rummage through his phone. He must have had a separate hidden account. I broke into sobs, Jade cradling me in her arms. I knew something was off, she murmured. Rage and heartbreak swirled. He never had any intention of being faithful. He used the banned account story as cover. The final puzzle piece locked into place, the 20-minute gap, was him quickly switching to that new account, logging out, deleting it from phone storage so that only the banned phone number login remained. Then forging that screen recording to prove innocence. Now apparently he'd reappeared as Jay. That night I wrote out a text to No. "I found your new Tinder. Jay, great job lying to me." Then I deleted the draft, deciding I wanted to confront him in person. Chapter 13, Shattering or Saving the Relationship. The next day, I asked No to meet at my dorm. He arrived, seeming concerned. The moment he stepped inside, I locked eyes with him, tears brimming. "I have proof you're on Tinder under a fake name," I said, voice trembling with anger. He blinked in surprise. "What are you talking about?" I showed him screenshots from Jade's phone. His face paled. For a few seconds, he was speechless. Then he stammered, It's an old profile. I forgot to remove those pictures. Some friend was messing with it. I wasn't buying it." "Stop lying. You told me you're banned. So how can your pictures be active now? Are you going to blame your roommate again?" He tried to spin another story. "I gave my pictures to a buddy who used them. I didn't know it was still active. Talia, I swear it's not me using it. My fury rose. You expect me to believe that multiple friends are impersonating you on Tinder for fun. Do you realize how absurd that is? He swallowed, eyes darting. Then his bravado cracked. He sank onto my desk chair, tears pricking his eyes. I'm sorry. I panicked after we almost broke up and made a new account using my friend's phone or something. I wanted to see what was out there, in case we ended. But then you found out about the phone number ban, so I improvised the roommate story. I never planned on meeting anyone. Just swiping around, I guess. A cold wave of disappointment washed over me. You lied to my face, repeatedly. You staged that entire band screen recording to manipulate me. He buried his head in his hands, sobbing. I was afraid you'd leave me, so I tried to cover it up. I do love you, Talia. I messed up. Please, can we fix this? My heart pounded with heartbreak and anger. Fix this? You systematically lied, played mind games, made me doubt my sanity. How do you expect me to trust you after this? He mumbled. I can delete it all, block everything. I'll prove my devotion. But I saw how hollow that promise was. The seeds of betrayal had taken root. We argued for hours, me demanding honesty, him vacillating between apologies and excuses. By midnight, I was emotionally drained, tears stained my cheeks. He knelt by my bed, pleading for another chance. I felt my resolve slip. Despite everything, part of me loved him. But I knew love without trust is a ticking time bomb. Finally, I said, you can't do this. You've shown me your lie to get out of trouble. I can't keep second guessing you. This relationship is over. He sobbed, but I was numb. Pack your things and go, I whispered. I'm done. My words shook, but I forced them out. He left in tears, muttering that he'd text me tomorrow. I collapsed onto my bed, heart in pieces, but also oddly relieved the deception was out in the open. Chapter 14, deciding where I stand. The following days were a blur of heartbreak. I cried in the shower, scrolled through old photos, wondered if I'd overacted, but every time I recalled him cunningly staging that fake phone login, my anger reignited. A friend told me, he's not worth your tears if he can manipulate you so smoothly. Another friend said, we all make mistakes. I was caught between sympathy and self-preservation. No bombarded me with texts, voice messages, even a letter slipped under my dorm door, begging for a second chance. He offered to let me see his entire phone, daily logs, anything to prove he's not cheating now. But he never denied lying about the ban. That trust was shattered. One night, I wrote a pros and cons list, tain pros. He had sweet moments, we had genuine fun times, we shared inside jokes, physical chemistry, a sense of emotional closeness. Than cons, he lied extensively, manipulated me, disrespected our relationship by downloading Tinder right after we almost broke up. The cons column dwarfed the pros. I realized I'd never truly sleep soundly if I stayed with him. A small voice whispered, people can change. But the betrayal felt too deep. My father, ironically, had once told me to never let a cheater define my worth. I recalled that now, though I had issues with my dad's own moral stances, I recognized the sentiment. If no cheated once, or attempted to cheat, or was open to cheating, was that something I'd accept? Probably not. Finally, I told him in a final text, he cannot continue. I do love you, but I don't trust you. We're done for good. He replied with heartbreak emojis, but I felt calm. Chapter 15, the final chapter. It's been a month since I ended it. The first week was agony. I missed his presence, the routines we shared. I cried myself to sleep, wishing we'd had a simpler story. But gradually, as the days passed, I found clarity. Better to end a relationship built on shaky trust than to suffer endless paranoia. I threw myself into classes, joined a new campus club for volunteer tutoring, and started therapy sessions to handle my heartbreak. My therapist said letting go was wise if I no longer felt safe. She pointed out that trust, once broken, rarely revives without unwavering honesty from both sides. And if he was cunning enough to stage that banned scenario, there was no telling what else he might hide. Maya, my roommate, reminded me I deserved someone honest. Jade, my best friend, gave me pep talks, insisting I was stronger than I realized. Slowly, I learned to appreciate singledom again. Freed from the weight of suspicion, I felt lighter. No tried a few more times to reconcile. He showed up at my dorm once with flowers, tears in his eyes. I stood firm, telling him to leave. He can't go back, I repeated. He left, and that was the last time we spoke face to face. I hear rumors he's single, depressed, apologizing to mutual friends. But I also heard, ironically, that his Tinder account under J eventually disappeared. Maybe he's truly done with it now, or maybe he found another method. No matter, not my concern anymore. And so, I find myself walking across campus on a crisp morning, sun lighting the path to class, feeling a mixture of relief and sorrow. The love we shared was real in parts, but overshadowed by deception. I won't let it define my future. I'm only 19 after all. I have so much life ahead, so many chances to find a person who respects me enough not to spin elaborate lies. Sometimes people ask, "Don't you want closure? Don't you regret being so harsh?" My answer is no. The final closure was discovering the truth, that single. Return to Tinder, snippet changed my entire perspective on love, trust, and the lengths someone might go to hide their wrongdoing. I'd rather endure the heartbreak of walking away now than live in the shadow of suspicion forever. Looking back, I realize I learned a powerful lesson. Trust your instincts, but also demand transparency. Love can't flourish in secrecy. If a partner truly cherishes you, they won't mind clearing up confusion before it festers into paranoia. In the end, love is about more than sweet words and nice gestures. It's about consistent honesty. I close my dorm door behind me, ready to head to class. A wave of fresh energy pulses through me. The heartbreak is still there, but so is my determination to heal. I whisper a silent goodbye to the illusions I once held about me and know, stepping into a future where I'll never again ignore that nagging gut feeling.